Hello everyone, my name is Anton, and in this video I'm going to continue my Scrintal versus Heptabase comparison here, where I go through the different features and we take a look at them and how they're implemented on one platform versus the other, just so you can get a better look at these applications, and if you're looking at these two as an application that you might want to leverage yourself and you might want to actually buy, purchase, and subscribe to, you'll get a little bit more information and kind of see it before you kind of get into them and start doing either a 7-day trial or you pay for these things and test them out yourself. So let's go ahead and start here with the different features, and I'm going to start with Heptabase this time. On all the other ones I did start with Scrintal when I went into the demonstrations on those different things, but this time I'm going to start with Heptabase because one, it has way more capabilities from a tool, this type of visualization tool, in comparison to Scrintal. So let's start with it and then we will kind of see what it has and what Scrintal has. Okay, so the first thing here I'm showing on the Heptabase side is going to be the journal. Now the journal is something that is created so every day you can come in here and you can put information for that particular day. Now this is a feature that Scrintal does not have, so if we take a look at its application here, we can see it does not have that. The one thing it does have is a My Desk, but that's not comparable to the journal, which is actually shown in more of a calendar format, and it automatically kind of populates the day and the month, the date, the year, all that stuff is in there by default. You don't have to recreate that stuff because the purpose of this is to have a daily journal and to log that stuff right here in this place. Now the next one is going to be the map. The map here in Heptabase is where all of the boards go. So any of your whiteboards that you create, they will be shown here in the map. On the Scrintal side, what you have is the board view, and you also have the actual My Desk view, which you can go ahead and maybe lump those two together. The My Desk is somewhat more of an inbox type place for doing any kind of visualization and putting brain dumping things into this area. And then you can create more of a dedicated board from what you create here in the My Desk. But either you can create, go to boards, create a new board from here, or you can come into My Desk, start your visualization, and then within here though, what I do like is that if you come in here and you start creating some kind of visual knowledge and information mapping, whatever and whatnot, then you can literally just select everything in here, come up here and do create board, and then this will create a dedicated board for that knowledge. Now, if we go into the Heptabase side of things, if you dig into one of the boards here, we will go into the boards and see what you can put on a board. Now, the Heptabase board is very flexible. You can put videos, you can put images, you can put mind maps on here. You can go ahead and connect things from your, say, different cards that are on the board to other cards. You also have the option so that if you create references within your card, you can come in here and you can click on this little eye at the bottom and you can show the links between your cards that are on this board just by doing clicking this here. And Scrintal has a similar feature, but in Scrintal on your boards, that particular feature where you get the reference link to and from other cards that are on your board, it is actually dedicated, it's required that those are on there. So every time you create a reference to another card on a board, you will get that link and it will show that link. Now it is muted, and it kind of sits in the background. It's a little harder to see. It's not that prominent when you're looking at your canvas, but as soon as you click on a card, they do highlight it and make those links pop out so that you can see where certain information is connecting to other cards on your board. Now, the board within Scrintal, though, is a lot more limited than that on Heptabase. On the Heptabase side, I showed that you can have images directly on this board, mind maps. You can come in here and you can group different cards on the board. You can have video on this board. But when you go into Scrintal, its board is a bit more confined to a structure. So you have to only put in here cards. You can put boards. You can put text, as you can see. And some of this text has emojis, so emojis are supported there. And then the cards themselves, you cannot dynamically shape like you can in Heptabase. So on Heptabase, if I select a card there, and then I grab an edge of it, I can actually change the shape, size, and either expand it out or expand it sideways, horizontal, whatever. You have freedom and flexibility on this board to do many different things that you cannot do on Scrintal. But on Scrintal, they do give you an option where you can toggle the layout of the cards that are on here. So if you have a card and you don't want it to show, say, the title and the information in the card, you can come in here and toggle it so it only shows you the title. Or you can toggle it and have it shrink down to just having the title of the card show up here. But those are the only options you get for being able to shape the cards on your board. They will stay with these squares with the rounded corners on here, just like you see here. Now there are a couple other things you can put on here. I mentioned you can actually put a board on here, and that's shown right here. And if you double click on the board, it takes you to that board. And you also can get web links on this board here as well at the top level. And you can come in here and you can change the size here, similar to what you have on the other cards. They do have some sizing options where you can kind of toggle the layout of these cards. So you hit the toggle layout, or you change the actual size of them. But those are the only options you really get when it comes to changing the shapes of the cards that sit on your board. You can come in here and change colors on these cards, so you do get that flexibility. And you can do the same thing within Heptabase. You can see how I have multiple colors on these different cards. If I right click on this, you get these different colors that are available to you that you can go ahead and change these things to. Now you will see that there's much more stuff in the menu here because there's much more stuff that you can do. We will get into some of those a little bit later, but I want to just compare and contrast some of the different things going back and forth between Scrintal and Heptabase. Now another card format you do get on Scrintal is you get a column card, and this card here is used for more having that compound style of formatting, so that if you can create cards in here, and then you can have different stages or states and flows that these cards might go through from either a project standpoint or whatnot, and you can move those around. So that gives you another way of visualizing the cards that are sitting on your board. Now if we come back to Heptabase here, and we have these different cards with information. So if I was to zoom in on one of these cards, we can see here that I can come in here and put a bunch of information in here, and then I have my formatting options all laid out here. If I select any text, we can see here there's a huge array of different things you can do from a formatting standpoint of the text that goes within these cards. You even have tables that are supported here in these cards that you have. These are more the text-based cards. You get image cards, you get video cards. So in the text-based cards, these things are pretty robust, and there is a lot of capabilities and things that it supports when you're creating your documents here. So, and again, table is one that's supported here that is not supported in Scrintal. So if we come into Scrintal and we open up a card, we can see that we can have text in here. We can do formatting. within the actual card itself on different text. If I select text, you get different options on how you can format it, similar to what you get over in Heptabase as well. The one thing you do not get here that I've noticed is that you do not get tables. So there are no table formatting that you can add to these cards. You can come in here and you can double click and open up multiple cards. You can even change the size of the card once it's open. So in here you do have a bit more freedom where you don't have any customization of the layout that you can do on the board directly, but you can open up a card and you do have some flexibility to customize the shape of the actual card here. And you can see images are supported. If I come in here and I do a slash command, there are other formatting options here. You can put files in here. You can do YouTube videos, and you can even put in Twitter posts in here, and there's some other options. Now, if we go back to Heptabase and we do that same slash command, we can see again, there are all the different formatting options that you get and all the different things that you could put inside of this actual card. Another standout here outside of tables is that you get templates. So if I want to populate a card with a template, and let's just come in here, we'll delete that one. Let's go ahead and create a card here real quick. And if I just want to put in a template that I already have in there, let's say it's the day where I'm going to work out my arms and shoulders, I can type out arm and then just hit enter. It's pretty quick. Everything goes in and it's formatted to be used right away. And you can see how easy that was, where I didn't have to come in here, because if you do template, they do have the option to open up the template viewer. Most apps typically force you to come here and then select one of these manually. But with Heptabase, they really honed in on that user experience, and they have it so that you can easily come in here and type the name of the template. It will come up, you can select it, and it will populate all the information that you had in that template. So if you want to create a template, it's pretty easy. You can just come in here, and what you can do is put in whatever information you want to have templatized. And then all you have to do is select the blocks that you want to have as part of your template. You come in here and you just do create template, and then you give it a name. So pretty straightforward, simple, easy to use templates in here. And this is another key thing that you do not get from Scrintal. Now on the side nav pane, both products do have the right and left side panes here. They're used for similar purposes. So if you're in the Scrintal's app and you're in a card, the information on the right side here will be relevant to this card. It does not show the actual data that's in the card like you do on Heptabase. So if we go to Heptabase and we put this card in the side panel, the data shows up here, but you do also get the option to see any other information for this particular card if you select these other tabs that are on there. Now you also get to save the different cards on this side panel, and you can get to them pretty easy. So if I want to take information from this card and put it over in here, then you can easily have those cards put on the side and then drag that information over here. Both board windows allows you to have multiple documents open at the same time. You can come into one and you can make edits to it. Then you can switch over to the other and make edits to it that way. Heptabase does have that little added bonus where you can open up the side pane and edit content from this side pane here as well. Where Scrintal, you are forced to basically open up the notes on your whiteboard. If you need more canvas space, obviously, to open up additional cards, you can easily fold in the side panels and close the side panels, and then come in here and select as many of these these notes as you want to have open. And just like within Heptabase, you can come in here and you can select text from one card and move it over into another. So that functionality is available to you in either one of the platforms. So on the left hand side here in this side pane, which is geared mostly for navigation, you also get the navigation. We talked about cards and we talked about boards. You also get tags. So you can do tags over here within in Scrintal. And if you select the tag, what it does is it pretty much searches for all your cards that have that tag in it. So this works pretty well. Heptabase goes a little bit of an additional step where you have tags that you can go into, but you can also, when you select those, it puts it in more of a table format when you select the tag. And instead of opening up a search pane and then it lists out all the ones with those tags, it puts it more in a table type format. And with this, you can add additional properties to the stuff that has this tag. So if you had a people tag, you literally could have your list of people for each, a person per card, and then you can have other relevant information like phone number, email, address, birthday, and things like that. They're something that you cannot get with Scrintal. Now you can create a Kanban view over here as well, but you cannot put the Kanban board on an actual board itself on a whiteboard. So Scrintal does win out there where you can have your Kanban on a board and use it without having to switch over to this different view in order to get your Kanban type functionality. Another thing with tags on the Heptabase side is that when you create these tags, the management for tags is not 100%, or at least for me, where you cannot select multiple tags and work with them. So like if I want to delete, multiple tags, I cannot select more than one and then actually delete or edit. So even from a group perspective here, you can put cards in groups, but you still will have to create the group and then one by one add the actual tag to that group. So this is the one of the biggest places I think where Heptabase can improve their tag management functionality so that you can actually come in here and you can manage multiple tags at once. Now, if we come over into Scrintal, you can come in here and if you want to manage your tags, you can come in here and right click on them and you can do create board with all the cards that have this tag. You can do that, but outside of that, I don't think there's really much else you can do over here as well. So you don't get that table view and you don't get the Kanban functionality from the tag type database like you can over in Heptabase. So going back to the home, let's go to task. So task here, both of them do have task, and on the Scrintal side, anything that has a task in it will show up here. If they're not complete, you can also come in here and toggle whether you want to see the completed ones in here too. But the one thing that I've noticed where it says include completed, but you can see I have a completed one here, because the way that they show you the tags over here is by card. So if you have one tag or multiple tags in a card, they're all going to show up here, even if only one of them is incomplete, which I think is, I don't know, it's probably not the best way to go about it. But so let's go ahead and take a look at how Heptabase does their tags, and you can kind of see how what I mean from either card or tag perspective here, where in Heptabase, if we go into our tags here, the tags are individual. Now, both of these tags are in the same card, But if I come in here and I change this here to today, we can see that that card is able to move to a different section within this task view, where if we go to the Scrintal side of thing, you cannot really move this tag outside of this card that is in. Also, you can see here in Heptabase that none of the cards that have, you know, a task that has been completed show up in here. Whether you have, you know, 6 tags that have been completed and 6 tags uncompleted in this particular card, only the ones that are incomplete will show up here. So if we go to this card here and let's put one in here, add another one here. This is 3, and we will mark that as complete. And then when we come over here, we can see that that disappears. It does not stay there, even though it's within the same card. Okay, another section that we have here within Heptabase is highlights. So this is something that Scrintal does not have, where they have a certain area specific for highlights. And Heptabase supports being able to do annotations on PDFs. And you can also connect up your Readwise service so that all your highlights from Readwise syncs up into here. Now, how this is pretty good is because you can come in here and you can get your highlights. You can add notes to these highlights. So if you want to reflect on something you highlighted in a book previously, you can add these notes into here. And even better is that when you go to your board and you have a board that you're trying to visualize information, and you have some highlights that you want to pull information from and into this board, you can select that highlight tab here. All of your highlights will show up here. You can click on one of the highlights and then you can drag and drop that highlight onto the board. Now this is pretty game changing when you compare it to Scrintal, because all of your information from either PDFs, annotations, and even from books that you can sync here through Readwise can be leveraged on your board, where the boards on Scrintal side, you can't even add a video to the actual board directly or images. So you can just see how much more customizable and flexible this board is than Scrintal. Now, if you want to do a PDF, we have PDFs. Let's go ahead and see if I can pull in a PDF here. Okay, we have this one PDF. I will drag this PDF to the board. It shows a little, you know, image here on this board. If we zoom in into this PDF, we could read the PDF here. If I come in here, I can actually come in here and I can highlight and annotate this PDF right here on the whiteboard. Also, if I come into the highlights, we can see that that PDF shows up right there, and I can open it up full screen outside of a board, and I can still create additional highlights to here. And we can change the different colors. We can have different colors for these. We can see the highlight showed up here. Again, we can add notes into here, and they have different versions. So I have where I'm highlighting the text. We can come in here and say I want to take this image here and do an annotation on this image and then add notes to it. So all is pretty flexible here in what you can do from an annotation standpoint on PDFs. And this information can again be leveraged on your board. When you go to a board here, I can come in here and go to my highlights. Let me open that back up. Go back, go into my highlights. Everything that I annotated on this PDF on the other side is here. I can drag and drop annotations out from this PDF directly, but I can also come over here and grab something that I annotated in the other highlight view. So these features here and the things that you can do on this whiteboard is kind of mind-blowing when you compare it to Scrintal, that it really does not go as far as Heptabase does and giving you different functionality of what you can do on your boards. So Scrintal is still a pretty good app that you can use. It's still not a 1.0 release, so I would still consider this a beta, even though on their website they recently had a release, I think in April, where they've changed the URL from beta.scrintal, I think .com, whatever the URL is. They changed it to app now, so it doesn't have that beta indication, but it still pretty much is a beta app that just has a different URL. It works well. You can still, it's still usable. Obviously, many people use this tool, but it's just not as flexible as the boards that you get on the Heptabase side. Now let's move forward with a couple other things here that I have. So folders and organization on this side here. Now on this side here, you do get your recent ones, you get your starred, and that's pretty much all you get here on the side from a navigation standpoint, outside of what they've also predefined above that we've already gone into. If we go into Heptabase, we can see that we have tab folders that you can create. So you can create different folder structures here and hierarchies where you create a folder for, like here I have where it's showing para, where projects go into one folder, areas, resources, archives. So you can better organize your boards and, within your environment, where on the Scrintal side, the only thing you really can do is create the board, and then they all just show up here in a list. Now, if you want to organize boards over in Scrintal, maybe what you do is you create one board and then it's titled projects, and then you put all your projects boards within that board. And that could give you another way of organizing the different boards that you might be creating within Scrintal. Now you still get that same option over in Heptabase because you can put boards over here as well. So we got a white board here sitting on another board, so you could do the same type of organization structure over here, but they've actually given you the ability to create folders outside of trying to do it that way. And you can come over here and you'll see as you open up different things, they will start to show up on the side. You can pin these. So if I want to keep these here over on that side pane, we can see within this particular window, these are all the fixed objects or boards and tags. These are fixed views that you can click on. At the bottom here, these are, say, your most recent, if we're comparing it to the Scrintal system there. And on Scrintal, you get to actually come over here and you can star these here. So if I was to star this one, it will show up at the top here within this more fixed type area where you keep these for quick access. All right, so that was a complete rundown of some of the different features that you can get in here. Now these boards, again, you can customize these boards however you want to. You put a lot of information into it. You can see this one here goes from one side to the other with different cards and different information on here, different highlights, so on and so forth. The one thing, as I mentioned before, is that you cannot put images directly on here, videos on here, and other objects. So you're really, really restricted in what you can put on the board within Scrintal. But to some people, that might actually be a good thing because it will become less cluttered. You put in all of your different cards here. They're all uniform, somewhat shaped. You cannot have these crazy odd form shapes like you can over in Heptabase, where if I collapse that, you got some cards that are more long and rectangular, other cards that are more squared off. You have these really slim ones. So it's really up to you as a user and what your personal preference would be as far as whether you want more of a structured type setup over in Scrintal where you're somewhat limited in what you can do, or you want to have the flexibility to basically do anything that you can think of and potentially go super crazy and get really messy and cluttered, knowing that you can still come back behind yourself and clean all of this stuff up. Yeah, it's really up to you. Now, not sure, don't think I really went into mind maps here. This is one other differentiating thing that you can do on Heptabase that you cannot do on Scrintal is that you can create a mind map. You can come in here and it's a functional mind map where you can easily come in and add additional nodes to this here. You can just put whatever text you want there. You can add node after node after node, and you can come in here and you can fold these nodes up so that you only see certain things. You can create connections. So on here, I can right click and I can draw an arrow, say over to this other card that's sitting over here. This card here has a mind map feature on it right there. If you have a card and you haven't started a mind map, you can come in here and you can turn that on, and then it puts the actual plus buttons on the side where you can create new nodes that comes out of that particular card. Then you can just continue creating these different nodes. So if you don't start with just right clicking and then doing mind map, you can take cards that are on your whiteboard and you can convert them to have that mind map capability. And I think that's a really unique feature from a whiteboarding app that I haven't seen in other mind maps. But this one here, we're obviously comparing Scrintal to Heptabase, but this is something that I haven't seen in other whiteboarding apps either. I use Miro, and Miro you can have mind maps on there, but those mind maps and the actual, you cannot convert, say, a square, a note card, or anything like that on there to an actual mind map. So yeah, it's a bit different. So yeah, what they've done here I think is pretty unique, and yeah, you really kind of have to think outside of the box to figure out how you might want to use this within your thought process and your documentation of knowledge on these boards. The arrows are pretty flexible as well, so you can come in here and you can shape this arrow and move this arrow however you want to. You can change the colors of the arrows, some of your typical stuff in there. You can change what the edge looks like and what the thickness is on here, just what type of curves does it have, whether it's squared or not. And yes, it's pretty flexible here. You can even add in your a label on here, to give that particular arrow some context. In the Scrintal side, if we come in here and we take a look at their arrows, we can see that the arrows are there. If I move something around, that arrow is going to move around with it, but you cannot actually shape the arrow itself. So if I was to come in here and I want that card over there, I could not take that arrow and say, you know what, I want to show that arrow wrapping from here to there instead of going straight through this other object. Now, if you have this arrow on there and you get this arrow from referencing this other card from within this card, if I was to delete this arrow, then it will also delete the reference in this other card also. So if I was to open this card up, let's put it on the side. I'll come here. I do like that it puts a 1 or a number for those different connections that you may have, which is a good indicator on how many connections it might have out. But if I delete this here, we can see it deletes it over here on this side. But it gives you at least an indication that the link was deleted, and it also gives you the option to either re-add that link or delete it permanently from the node here. Now look, both of these applications are pretty capable in what you can do from a whiteboarding standpoint. Heptabase takes it, beyond what Scrintal can do. Scrintal is still an early application that's out there that's still not even a 1.0 release. So it does has a way to go to catch up with Heptabase. But if they're looking at the competition, I think they can catch up and add some of the features that they're missing. But they do have, again, these are two different companies with different mindsets on what they have envisioned for their application. So maybe they're not looking at Heptabase as a direct competitor, and they want to maybe keep their application geared to a certain vision that doesn't, allow you to just do any and everything with your boards, which is completely fine. So you will just need to understand what you're getting from one app to the other. And I hope this video gave you some insights into what you can do with Scrintal and what you can do with Heptabase and how they actually differ. So if you got value out of this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And until the next time, have a nice day.